character in here today, guys. Today, bringing you something that's a bit late on my end. By a bit, I mean a lot, but hey, I'm actually finally doing it, so cut me some slack. If you did not know, we are currently in the midst of a league known as the Universal Pokemon Association, otherwise known as the UPA, and I am your coach of the Maine Malamars. And, well, it's Mecklenburg Malamars for this season. We're getting it changed for next season, whenever that happens. But, so, yeah. Basically, what this video is going to be me breaking down my draft, showing you guys what I picked, why I picked it, and just my ideas and going forward with this season. Now, if you're watching other content creators who are in this league, they will all be linked in the description. We are actually already in week 6. So I'm going to have to go try to see if I can find the replays of battles and post-commentate, which is going to suck. But hey, it's going to be worth it because I really want to try to do this for you guys. So without further ado, let's get to our draft picks. Now, if you did not know, we go off of the GBA rules, which means there's like a whole tiering system, which will also be linked in the description, if I remember it. And basically, Tier 1 was like OU-ish. Tier 2 was the rest of OU, and like the really strong ones, the UU, etc., etc. You kind of get the point. The lower the tiers, the worse it is. And you got X amount of points to pick certain mons, all that fun stuff. So, our first pick was actually Heatran from Tier 1. And the reason I wanted to pick up Heatran, it was just, basically there was a team I was building in my head. I can't remember what it was, but at the time I was like, okay, I want this, this, and this. And I was thinking to myself, there's a huge problem, like bug types can run through this team. So I was like, Heatran can definitely solve a bug type problem. But also, Heatran is very versatile. In fact, you can run it physical, you can run it special. It gets certain moves that you would not expect if you'd like to go through. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. We want to go back really fast. That way we can look at moves again. Yep, there we go. If you see, you get Ancient Power, Crunch, Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse, Earth Power. You can run it a few different ways. You got Choice Specs, Choice Scarf. I've seen Air Balloon if you want to try to dodge those pesky Earthquakes. And so, yeah, we definitely just decided we need a good, strong Mon right off the bat. So our next pick was actually down to Tier 2. And once again, if I don't do these in the order that I did, I'm sorry, because I honestly don't remember it altogether. But our next pick was actually Slowbro, which was in Tier 2. And the reason I wanted Slowbro was simply because Slowbro is definitely a Mon. It's a good Mon, but it was something I personally didn't want to go up against. That's the only reason I took it. I took it that way nobody else could have it. But it was definitely a versatile Mon. It definitely has some potential. I might be using it in an upcoming battle or two here, coming soon. I don't know yet, but, we definitely have some versatility. You can run a Calm Mind set. You can actually run a Curse set as well that nobody ever thinks of. You can run Curse, Aqua Tail, Avalanche. It gets quite a few physical moves, so don't count it out on the physical side either. But it's also really, really bulky, so if I want to run it, I can. It's there, but I mainly took it so nobody else could have it. Now, what I saw for my next pick, the reason I took Mega Beedrill. Now, Mega Beedrill is honestly my favorite Mega, but the reason I took it is because Florges was taken. Sylveon was taken. Togekiss was taken. A lot of really, really good fairies were taken right out of the gate, which was a problem for me, because I was like, okay, everyone's taking these fairies, how am I going to defeat them? Because they're all especially bulky, so Heatran's not doing a lot. And I thought, Mega Beedrill adaptability will destroy these things, Poison Jab. And so that's exactly what I did. I was just like, Beedrill can do what it needs to do. It has a little bit of versatility to it, not much. You're normally seeing the common set. It does get access to Brick Break, which nobody thinks of. It does get Pursuit as well. But it also gives me a U-turner. It gives me somebody to set up Toxic Spikes if I really want. Tailwind. It's definitely a random Mon you would not expect to be versatile. And if I can... Yep, there we go. So, basically I picked this thing up as a fairy killer in its tracks. Now, the next Mon is the team captain himself, Malamar. And the reason I did this is because I was in a league, and this was back before I even thought of doing a YouTube channel, and I was in a battle. It was like my week 2 or 3 battle. And I was about to get my next loss or whatever. I was sitting there, and I was literally about to get 6-0'd. I threw out Malamar, and as a joke, I was like, I'm going to run a Choice Specs Malamar set. with Psychic, Dark Pulse, the whole 9 yards. Malamar single-handedly knocked out 5 of his mons. You do not want to mess with a Malamar. You do not want to mess with a Malamar. You can run an Assault Vest to make it bulky. You have the obvious contrary superpower set. It gets Destiny Bond. It gets Calm Mind. It gets Flamethrower. It gets Thunderbolt, even though you can't see it. But yeah, it definitely got a lot of moves, and it was the team captain. There's no reason not to pick it. Now, the next Mon was picked because, as I said, all the good fairies were taken. So I was like, okay, I can't have a special attacking fairy. What about a physical one? Granbull was in my mind. But ultimately, I went with Slurpuff because it does offer a little bit of diversity. Because Belly Drum, while it is the most common thing, is not the only thing. You also have Calm Mind. You have Cotton Guard. Calm Mind, and you also get Heal Bell with it. It gets a lot of things you wouldn't expect it to be. But pretty much this was just picked up because I needed a fairy, and it was the only thing left. So, now this I know was not our next pick, but I'm just going to go to it anyway because I have it here. Dragonite. Now, Dragonite, I shouldn't have to explain Dragonite to anybody. It's very versatile, very strong, multi-scale. That way you're not OHKOing it unless you're beyond, like, you have to be a choice specs, I don't know. What's a nice type in Ubers? Just something beyond stupid overpowered. Just look at this move. It gets Heal Bell. I did not even know that. I'm going to think about that. But it also gets another ability, Inner Focus, which actually, a little bit of spoilers for you guys if you haven't seen it on his channel, but Week 2, Inner Focus is going to come into play. Well, actually, it'll be Week 1, because that'll all get explained during that video. But, so, those were the first 6 months. I was just sitting there, and so this was the team I had, and I noticed that we had 2 Earthquake weaknesses, 1 immunity to it, so I was feeling good. I felt like our team was getting well-rounded. Now, next up, yes, this was actually our next pick after the Slurpuff. And that was, or no, it was after a different Mon, but basically, Rotom Wash with Levitate, because I was worried about Earthquake, but it also was very volatile in what I like to do, because my mentality in any form of battle is diversity. If you, like in leagues, I always like leagues because I pick a Mon because it's diverse. You can run it, now, Rotom's diverse in a different way. You can run it physically bulky, you can run it specially bulky, you can run it special attacking, max attack. Well, not max attack. I don't think I'm running around with this Facade Rotom Wash or anything. But you got Hydro Pump, you got Signal Beam, you got Shadow Ball. You could just make a specially bulky set and just sit there and stall your opponent with Pain Split. You can set up screens. It can do a lot of things that you would not expect it to do. So pretty much this was meant to be our wall. Now, next up, this was actually our last pick, and it was, if you watch the draft video and you're like, what the heck? We originally picked Levdis because I was looking at tier 5 and I was like, there's nothing here for me. I can't pick anything I'm going to actually use. And so I grabbed up Levdisc, and that was all well and dandy. But afterwards, reevaluating it after week 1, I saw that Xatu was down there. I was like, wait, Xatu is still a thing. So I instantly was like, I want to pick that up because that gives us a magic bounce user. That means hazards are going to come back at you, which we did not actually pick up anyone to set up hazards other than the Toxic Spites on Mega Beedrill. So that was actually really nice to have just sitting in the back. That way an opponent maybe wouldn't play this hazards game with us. Now, next up, we have another fairy killer to the squad. We have Toxicroak. And Toxicroak, pretty much I was sitting there and I was thinking, what's a good offensive Mon that can just be a presence that you wouldn't normally expect? And it was Toxicroak. Because of the fact that it gives you a water immunity. Fire type's going to run through it, but water immunity with dry skin. And then it also gets quite a few moves that you would not expect. It gets Fake Out if you'd like to run that. It gets Knock Off, very helpful. It gets Poison Jab. And it also gets Thunder Punch and X Scissors. So pretty much it was like a Mega Beedrill. It was like a weaker Mega Beedrill, if that makes sense. If I could just scroll up, please. There we go. And then next up, we have Gastrodon. And if you have seen anybody play with a Gastrodon, you know that Gastrodon is a god. Some people like to call it Cindy. Me personally, I love Cindy. Shout out to the King Nappy for that nickname. But Gastrodon is great because it gives you, once again, a water immunity with Storm Drain, and that also even boosts it. But then you wouldn't expect this mon to be bulky. If you're looking just at base stats here, it's got 111 HP, which is decent, but it's got 68 defense, 82 special defense. But it's its typing that helps it so much, because I believe it only has one weakness, being grass. Nothing else is getting a super effective hit off on you because of the water ground typing. So you're getting a lot of bulk in there with access to recover and a lot of other stuff that you would not expect. It does, I believe, it gets Clear Smog, which can stop a setup. Because if you play a Gastrodon right, it's living the one hit, going for the Clear Smog, and you're good. It's back to 0, and the opponent, it's just kind of like, you have a lot of things to do with Gastrodon. You can run Memento if you want. And then it wasn't our final pick, but the final team member over here, Doublade. Now, Doublade is... The reason I picked Doublade, I was sitting there, I was thinking, like, I already have a Fairy Killer being Mega Beedrill. I had Toxicroak, I had Heatran. But I was sitting there and I was just like, Swords Dance, Shadow Sneak, that's running through a lot of things. Not a lot of things are stopping that aside of a normal type. And it honestly, it gives you a bit of diversity where you wouldn't expect it. It's just kind of... It gets Destiny Bond, obviously, Gyro Ball, Iron Head, Night Slash, Protect, Rock Slide, Sacred Sword if you want to be that guy, Shadow Claw, Toxic, gets Aerial Ace. But no, I was sitting there and I was thinking, what's a good mon that can help us out? And I've always seen, like, just a Doublade. Most people will underestimate it, but it just can actually sweep a team if you don't deal with it correctly. So anyway, that was my 11 drafted mons. And honestly, like, when I first got it, I was like, but I actually felt really good about my team, which was actually helpful because, week 1 was against the Hungry Bidoof, coach of the, what was her name? I believe it was the Pacific Poplios, yes. So, Pacific Poplios, basically what happened is around week 4, I believe, week 4 or 5, she actually quit out. So, we did lose that match, but basically because of the fact that she quit for personal reasons, we just expunged it. That way it wasn't a win, it wasn't a loss, it's just like the match never happened. So, that was actually really good for us. So, technically, our week 1, which is our week 2, hopefully, if I can find the replay, we'll be going up tomorrow, and that was against Justin, aka Shadow Link. So, yeah, so that was me explaining my 11 drafted mons, and hopefully we're going to have a great season with this team. I'm hoping for playoffs, but with what I know now and what you guys are about to know soon, it's going to get dicey. Alright, thank you all for watching. Have a good night.